Hi everyone, I'm Jody at Fort Worth Fabric Studio, and we are back with week 2 instructions for our Texas Square Dance quilt. And this week we are going to be putting together the dancing squares that go around here, and these are made with half square triangle blocks. So we're going to get started on that. We're going to use a block lock ruler and an OmniGrid marking ruler that'll help draw our lines and make these come out super easy for you guys. So let's get started on this. We are ready to get started on making our half square triangles, and we have a really great shortcut method we're going to show you. We're going to be able to make 8 of these at once. And it'll be easy, and it'll go a lot faster this way. So the first step I need you to do is to pair these up, a white square with each of the printed squares that you have. And these are 9" by 9" squares. So after you get them paired up, then you're going to take your, if you have the OmniGrid marking ruler, this is the 12" one. This is actually not quite long enough if you see here, but I still made it work. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can draw a line from point to point and then sew a 1/4 inch on either side of that middle line, or you can use this ruler, which is a 1/2 inch wide exactly, and draw your lines, and those are actually going to be your cutting, or your sewing lines. And I choose to do it that way. I find that's a little bit easier. So I've already gone ahead and drawn my lines this way, but since this is the make 8 method, we have to do this again. We need to turn it the other way and draw our lines. Let me turn this a little bit here. Draw our lines this way as well. So let me get these lines on here. Okay. We will go ahead and sew then on all of these lines, and yes, you will be crossing over lines here when you sew in the middle. There'll be an intersection there, and you just keep sewing on your line from one way across to the other. And we're going to do this on all of these squares, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to cut these, and you'll end up with 8 half square triangles out of each of these bigger blocks. We've gotten these all sewn on our lines here, and you can see they come out a little, I don't know what you want to call it, a little ruffled here. So it is a good idea before you cut these into your half square triangles that you just go ahead and give them a little press. So I'm going to go ahead over mine and get them all pressed, and you can see that this makes it looks a lot better once it's pressed out. So I'm going to finish pressing mine, and then we will cut them. Now we're ready to go ahead and cut these, and let me get this here to where we just have one out here to work with. What we're going to do is cut diagonally in between the lines this way. Then we have to come back and cut right through the middle this way and this way, and we'll end up with 8 that way. And I think I need to get out a bigger ruler here. This one isn't going to be big enough. I need to get a narrower ruler to make it a little easier. So what I'm going to do, let me just kind of angle this a little bit here. I'm going to cut right in the middle of this. You can just kind of eyeball this because you're cutting in between your sewing lines. There we go. So we're going to cut this way. I'm going to kind of leave these together and just turn my mat. And now we're going to cut this way in between the sewing lines. Okay. Now we need to cut them. I'll push that back together just a little bit. There. Now we need to cut them straight up and down the middle through this intersection. So you kind of want to line that up here. And I'm kind of going by my lines here and up here to make sure I've got it pretty straight, and then going right through the middle of this intersection here. And we need to do the same thing going in the other direction. Let me turn this again. Looks like I might need to get one of those handy rotating mats. Okay. And I'm going to go and cut right up through the middle. Okay. Now let me set this big ruler aside here. Okay, and now what we have here are 8 half square triangles. Let me get this opened up. And they will be ready for trimming. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of mine this way, and we will have 8 of these and 8 of each of the others, and then we're going to come back and trim them down. All right, y'all, we have a nice big stack of these. So I'm going to take these over to the iron and press them, and you'll want to press the seam toward the colored print and away from the white. And I'm going to recommend that you guys use some kind of a starch on this because it will really help if you've got these starched. If you remember, the other blocks that we made with the 9 patch have some nice body to them because we use the easy piecing grid. And that'll help these be stabilized too as we put them together. So we're going to go iron all these, and then we will come back and trim them down. We've got all of our sets of half square triangles now, and now it's time to trim. And I do want to tell you that don't worry if some of yours came out a little wonky, because I had a couple in here that were kind of wonky, but we gave you guys plenty to trim off so that you'll be able to get them just perfect for the quilt. So if you're going to use your block lock ruler, which we highly suggest, this is the 6.5 inch one, you'll want to take the words block lock, and there's a channel that's grooved in here that's going to grip onto your seam, and all your seams should be facing toward the printed fabric. So the words block lock need to face toward that seam as well. So you put it on here and you just kind of lock it in, and then you're going to want to pull down to where you're going to trim. And this is going to be a 3.5 inch square. So what I'm doing is I'm checking to make sure from 3 to 3.5 that I've got a little bit all the way around this 3.5 inch mark that I can trim off. You don't want to put it too close to the edge because you may not get enough on one side. So just kind of try to center it on there, and then you just hold it in place, scooch down one side and then down the other, and then you're going to just turn it around this way and pull it back. Now this time, since you've already cut one side, you're going to come all the way down to 3.5. So 3.5 is going to be here and here. Then you're going to trim off these 2 sides. And what you'll end up with is a perfect 3.5 inch half square triangle. You can see 1, 2, 3.5, and the other way is 1, 2, 3.5. So it'll turn out just perfect. So this does take some time, but doing this precisely will help these blocks go together so well for you when we start putting them together, because we're going to put these in groups of 4 to make our next blocks. So I'll just tell you real quick one more time. You're going to get this kind of centered so that you have 3.5 inches here in the middle that you can trim. Your words block lock are going to face toward the print because that's the way your seam is going, and that little channel will fit right there. It'll nest right in. Then you trim the side and then the top. Then you're going to turn it all the way around and pull the block lock ruler down to where your 3.5 inch is lined up here and here. And then it may look like you got a bit extra, but I'll tell you, this is so much better than having it close or having it short. So we would rather just let you guys have enough that you can get it just perfect. So we're going to trim that off, and we've got another 3.5 inch half square triangle. So I'm going to work my way through this stack. This will take a little time. We might do a little time lapse here for you, and maybe not even all of that. Then I'll come back and show you how we're going to piece these together. After trimming all these up, we're going to now pair them together to make the dancing square blocks. So these are the 2 that we're going to make, and we're going to need to make 4 of each of these. So I'm kind of going to set these up here as a little bit of a sample, just so we can see what we're doing. So we're going to have one of these next to one of these, this way and this way. And then what we'll need to do is just go ahead and put these together, and you'll want to sew down this seam here, and be really careful when you match these up. You may want to pin this right here because you want these lines right here to line up perfectly as much as possible. And it is hard to get them really perfect, but as much as possible, that will make them turn out really nice. So you're going to sew down that way. Then you're going to have this one right sides together, and again down here you'll want to maybe pin so that these lines here line up just perfect. So you're going to stitch here. After you do that, then you'll want to press one seam one direction, like maybe this one will go toward the floral, and then this one, when this is open, this one go toward the floral. That way they'll be going, how do I want to do it? Opposite ways. And then when you sew your middle seam together, they will nest. So that's what we're going to go do right now. We're going to put these together, sew here, this together, sew here, open it up and press them out, and then sew the middle seam, which is this seam right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of these. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just need to take your time and try to match up all of your points in the middle and your little edges here wherever you can. We're going to go make all those, and then we'll come back, and that will be it for week 2. So I will be back in a few minutes. Okay, so after putting these together, you'll end up with 4 of these total and 4 of these total. I already took some aside that I was going to use in a picture for you guys, but they do take a little bit of work trying to match up the points, but these are kind of the star of the show, so it's well worth it to take your time and get them just right. So I know this week had quite a bit, but that there's only 8 of them and they're done, and next week we're going to come back and put the whole quilt together. So check in with us next week, and we'll give you instructions for putting it together. It's come together real easy. I think you guys are going to love it. So y'all take care and have a good day. Bye.